Hey everybody, so we're here with the next class, which is the Spy. So the Spy, I'll just get right into him. Um, he has three things: a revolver, a knife, and a watch. You always have one of those. So I guess let's just go over the revolvers and talk about what the revolvers are. Um, there's a standard revolver. I have a strange one. It only has 152 kills because I haven't had it for too long. But it does really good damage at like point blank. It'll do over 50, a little over 50. At really long ranges, it'll do upper 20s, maybe 30 or something. Depends on kind of the damage spread and whatnot. But it is 6 shots. All these are 6-chamber revolvers. Um, so it does a lot of really good damage. It's pretty hard to run out of ammo for it, and it's a great way to kill people. It does a lot of like I said, it does a lot of damage. Like point blank, it does over 50. I mean, you can 4-shot soldiers with it. It does a lot of damage. It's very nice. You'll just have to watch later on to kind of get a feel for it. I guess we'll just go down the line. Next one's a Diamondback, which does not have random critical hits and has minus 15% damage, so it does far less damage. 15% is actually quite a bit in terms of revolver. The revolver is carefully balanced, I feel. I feel like right now the regular revolver does just the right amount of damage to make it quite good. This one does less damage, but in order to make up for that, whenever a building gets destroyed with your sapper attached, that means if you put a sapper on something, which I'll get to in a second. I guess let's talk about that now, because that's not on the loadout screen. Every spy always has a sapper. It's in your number 2 slot. You can put sappers on buildings. It disables the building and slowly destroys it. Engineers can knock it off with 2 wrench hits, and pyros can knock it off with the homewrecker. I'll get probably to well, once I get to those videos. If you guys don't know what that means, you'll eventually get that. But so if your sapper's on a building and it gets destroyed, an engineer's building, you get a crit, and it's like stored up. So your weapon will start glowing, and you have a little counter, and it'll go up, and then when you shoot, it'll be a crit. And you can't choose when it uses it. It's just like first, like if you have 2 crits, your next 2 shots are crits. It doesn't matter really anything. Nothing changes that. They're crits. So a crit with this does 102 damage. So it does do quite a bit of damage. A crit with the revolver does 120. But so this does quite a bit of damage. It is. If you can get crits, it's nice, but obviously if the other team does not have Engies, or you aren't really getting enough sappers on the Engies buildings, you shouldn't be using this, because it's a straight downgrade if you can't get crits reliably. Straight downgrade. L'étranger, I don't know how you say it. It's like the stranger in French. I don't speak French. I speak Spanish. Not really that well either, but so you get plus 15 cloak on hit. I'm pretty sure that's the 15 cloak, I'm pretty sure, is each watch has 100 cloaks, so I think it fills up 15% on each hit about. It fills up a decent amount, so if you can hit like land like 3 hits, that's like half your cloak. So you can recharge cloak really fast. It's especially good with the cloak and dagger, which I'll explain why in a second. You lose 20% damage though, so this thing does not hit hard at all. But one really good thing about this is there's a set. The Spy has a set called the Saharan Spy. You can kind of see that down there. It includes L'Étranger, Your Eternal Reward, and the Familiar Fez, which is a hat. So if you don't have the hat, this doesn't concern you. But I do have the Familiar Fez. So if you're using Your Eternal Reward, which I'll talk about in a second, and you're using this gun, you will get reduced decloak sound volume. By reduced, they mean completely silent. Like literally. Because what's really good is to use this set with the Dead Ringer. Because the Dead Ringer is a watch that makes a really loud noise when you uncloak. Because like the Spy cloaks around. So, because he's invisible. But when you decloak, when you become visible with the Dead Ringer, it's really loud. But if you have this set, it is inaudible. I've had people uncloak in front of me in a completely empty room. Like none of us were moving either. Like we were both standing still. So there was no footstep sound. I wasn't reloading or anything. I was just standing there. Because I knew the Spy was there. I mean, I just knew he was there because he was really bad. So, because the problem is with using this set is a lot of spies use it and they think they can get away with anything, but they can't. And so I was just waiting for him to uncloak because he's gonna uncloak right behind me because he thinks I'm not gonna know he's there because it's so quiet. So I was looking at him, and it took me a while to realize he actually uncloaked because I did not hear anything, and there was literally no noise. There was just some like very tiny background humming. So it's really good to have this set. The only downside of the set is, obviously, you have to use these specific items, and when you get knocked into when you're cloaked, you can you'll like blink, you'll be kind of visible, you'll be like kind of a little outline, And if you're using this set, that outline lasts for half a second longer. I guess I'll explain more about the set when I actually use it in the video, because it's kind of hard to explain how it works just like this. But next we have the Ambassador, which crits on headshot. It crits on accurate headshot. I'll explain what accurate means in a second. 15% damage penalty, 20% slower firing speed. So if you're just using this for straight up damage, you're not really doing it right. What you do is you shoot them in the head and you do 102 damage like the Diamondback, same amount, if you get a headshot. When I say accurate headshot, you can't just shoot this as fast as you can and get headshots. You have to shoot it, wait for your crosshair expands when you shoot with this gun, and it'll shrink down once it gets shrunk all the way. If you shoot again, your bullet will go perfectly straight, and if you hit somebody in the head, it's a headshot. The thing is that cooldown period where after you wait for it like to contract, like we wait for the aimer to contract and get to like normal size again, and then it's perfectly accurate. That's true for every gun in the game. For any one of these revolvers, if you were to wait the same amount of time, your next shot would be perfectly straight. The only difference is that shot would do a headshot if you hit him in the head with this. So if I wait with my revolver and I wait that like time, which is like 1 second or 2 seconds, something like that. If you wait that time and you shoot, it goes perfectly where you're aiming. Like most guns have spread, where if you're just rapid firing the revolver, they're not all going to go directly where you're aiming. They'll veer off to the side a little bit because of like the spread. But not if you wait that cooldown. That works for every gun. That works for the heavy's minigun. That works for shotguns. If you do it with a shotgun, one of the pellets from the shotgun blast will go perfectly straight. And it works with like every gun. So I just want to say that because I feel like nobody knows that. Because I know a lot of people say you can use the Ambassador to snipe buildings. You can snipe it better with like the Enforcer, which does a lot of damage, because you can't crit buildings. So I mean, the Enforcer does 20% more damage. This does 15%. I mean, there's like a 35% difference. And then you can still shoot perfectly straight with the Enforcer if you wait for the cooldown. And I guess I'll talk about the Enforcer right now. It is the most broken thing in the game at the moment, as far as I'm concerned. But see, mine says the best spy, because literally, you should probably use the Enforcer all the time. Because, I mean, it gives you a 0.5 second increase in time to cloak, so it takes longer to cloak, but you get 20% damage. And this is where I'm talking about with the revolver is so well balanced right now that adding that extra damage breaks the Enforcer. It is too good. You can two-shot like so many classes. You can almost two-shot a medic. 2 shots from this will do, if you're at point blank, it will do over 140. I can almost guarantee that, or very near it. So if the medic has the Vitus Saw, which reduces his health to 140, you could probably two-shot a medic, which is ridiculous for a spy. For a class that depends on being sneaky, the ability to give them the ability just to do that much upfront damage is game-breaking. And the worst part is, the 0.5 second increase in time to cloak doesn't affect you, really, when you're using the Dead Ringer. So if you use the Dead Ringer with this, you can do extremely well without even using your knife. If you just use this in the Dead Ringer, because you shoot this, and if you get in trouble, you use your Dead Ringer, which will activate when you get hurt, and it makes you kind of semi-invincible. I'll get to that in a second. But it's just absurd how good this is. And I'll just talk about it in the real video. I don't want this to take too long. But that watch is like the worst thing to happen to Spy in like forever. That's right. I forgot. I need to get a Eurotone reward before I can do it. So remember I was talking about Eurotone reward? It's for this set. It's a knife. As a spy, you also have a disguise kit. Every spy has this, unless you're using Eurotone reward, and then you don't have it. But the disguise kit lets you disguise as any class from the other team, or any class from your own team. You can use friendly disguises. And I guess I'll explain more how to use that in the video because it's better in practice. But when you're using Eurotone reward, which is I don't have right now, but I'll get it before I actually do my video. When you're using Eurotone reward, you can't disguise, but whenever you stab somebody, you instantly disguise as them, and like they just disappear. It doesn't display a kill notice for the other team, and they don't see a body or anything. You just all of a sudden, it's like all of a sudden that person just disappeared, and now you're in their place. So it's really good for if they're not really watching carefully, you can stab a lot of people before they notice. It does still make a sound when you stab them. I can hear it a lot. I mean, I played a lot of Left 4 Dead, and so my hearing, I've like gotten very good at distinguishing sounds. So I can tell when somebody gets stabbed from Eurotone reward because it does make a stab sound. It's like, It kind of makes like like a little slash noise. It doesn't make, because usually when you backstab somebody, they like scream. They don't scream with your eternal reward. It doesn't make the big crit sound, and so it's like you can still hear it if you are paying attention. But a lot of times, if you're in the middle of fighting, you're not going to hear it. And so your eternal reward really shines in crowded areas. Um, and when people aren't paying attention. Because obviously, if you disguise immediately as somebody, that person can call you out to their team, be like, this spot, there's a spy right here. This is exactly what he looks like. Because they know how they look, so they can tell their team exactly how you look like and where you are. So if you're playing against a team that actually communicates, your eternal reward is not so good. Another cool thing about your eternal reward is if you have a disguise already, and you stab somebody in front of a sentry gun, the sentry won't notice, which is really cool. That's why I like, if you find there's a lot of sentry guns and you need to like do stuff, your eternal reward might be good because then you can stab people in front of sentry guns. I guess I'll go with the other ones. We have the kunai, which reduces your health by 65, so you only have 60 health, which is like no health. You get killed so easily. But when you stab somebody, you gain health, and you can get overhealed too. You can get up to 185 health. It slowly goes down, but it goes down a lot slower than overheal for medics. So this knife's good when you can get that first stab, but it's kind of bad because if you're cloaking around, you can get hit by a random rocket and die. So you have to be very careful with this knife that you don't take unnecessary damage. But when you do start getting backstabs, you can absorb a lot of damage. Like you could have, I've had times where I've stabbed like 6 people in front of sentry guns just because I've kept stabbing and I get hurt, but I just keep stabbing people and I keep getting health. So it can be very good for that reason. You have the regular knife, does nothing special. You just backstab people with it. Big earner, you lose 25 health, so you only have 100. But when you stab somebody, you gain cloak. So this is kind of good, especially with the cloak and dagger, because the cloak and dagger does not recharge when you pick up metal. The invisibility watch and the dead ringer can both charge when you pick up metal. So I don't think it's as good with those two. But with the cloak and dagger, it could be good because it lets you charge it a lot faster. Could also be good with the dead ringer, because you can't use the dead ringer unless you have full cloak. So this can really give you that full cloak and make it so you can escape. Then we have the Spycicle, the other broken thing about Spy right now. Silent Killer, so it's a lot like the your eternal reward in that when you stab somebody it doesn't make any noise. I think it still gives a kill notification. I haven't really tested it out a whole lot. You might want to check that out. But they don't make any noise, and it turns them like into an ice sculpture, so it's pretty easy to tell when there is a spy around because there's ice sculptures, but you don't hear him stabbing people. Now, if you get lit on fire by this, if a pyro flames you while you have this out, what happens is, you become fireproof for 2 seconds, but your knife melts for 15 seconds. So, the ramifications of that is, you become immune to fire, so you can either run from the pyro or try and kill him, and he can't really hurt you significantly with his fire. He's going to have to shotgun you or try and melee you or something. But then you can't stab anybody. So, I mean, it can be really good. Because a lot of times pyros will just flame around everywhere. And if you're invisible, this can save your ass. Because then they won't light you on fire and make your position too obvious. I guess I'll go into it later in the other videos. I don't want to talk too much. By the way, this is the familiar Fez. I don't want to talk too much. I'm probably already talking too much about these. I'll talk more about them in the actual video. There's Invisible Watch. Enthusiast Timepiece is just a reskin. You can cloak a lot. The watches, I can't really talk about them a whole lot because you kind of have to see them in action. Basically, you become invisible while you have this, and it's a timed thing. Like you'll have like 12 seconds cloak. And if you pick up metal, you can extend that, and it recharges slowly over time when you are uncloaked. So that's pretty good. Cloak and Dagger is much the same as the Invisible Watch, except you can't charge it with the metal. And instead of decreasing with time, it decreases with distance. So the more you move, the faster the cloak goes down. And that includes like falling. Like if you fall, it decreases it. You don't have to be like you don't have to be like moving with the keys. If you fall, that decreases it. So you kind of have to be careful sometimes. Because you can all of a sudden fall off an edge and it'll make you slightly, because if you move around without cloak with this on, you'll be like kind of visible. And so people can kind of see you. But another thing about this is you gain cloak regen, so it regens a lot faster. So the cool thing about this is if you're standing still, this watch will actually recharge faster than it uses cloak, so you can stay cloaked indefinitely with this watch. And that can be quite good because it lets you really stake out an area. So I guess I'll have to show that in action. Then we have the Dead Ringer. If you can look at this, it regens a little faster cloak rate, but it drains cloak faster, so you don't get as much cloak time. But what you do with this is you right-click, because that right-clicking brings up your invisible watch with the spy. When you right-click, it brings up this watch, just like a kind of a pocket watch. And if you have that out and you get hit, you will instantly cloak and you will drop like a fake body. Like you died, you'll fake your death. The enemy team will get a kill notification. It'll show you're dead on the scoreboard. It will not increase their kills though. There are all sorts of signs that you can look for people if people are dead ringer or not. I'll go more into that in the video or in other videos with other classes, so I can explain why I knew that spy with dead ringer and whatnot. But so this recharges with metal and stuff, and so yeah, it's pretty good, especially if you. Oh, by the way, while you're invisible, you also take 90% less damage, so you take like very little damage. You can just get smacked with rockets and stickies and bullets. But you can still get lit on fire, and that kind of gives away your position really bad. So I guess for now, I've probably talked far too much about these. I need to put them in action for you guys to actually see. But first, I'm going to get your eternal reward. But then I'll focus on getting some actual footage of these. And because that's really the only way I can explain a lot of them. So hopefully you guys will watch. I guess I might just talk about what my favorite is. Probably the best one right now is Enforcer, Spicicle, and Deadringer, because it's just retarded. Because the Enforcer is retarded, the Spicicle is retarded. And then you put the Deadringer on top of that to give you extra survivability, and you are dumb. It's just dumb. I was playing it with it the other day, and I was literally like, I was getting mad. Like, I mean, I was killing everybody. I wasn't mad because I was losing. I was getting mad because I guess it was too easy. I didn't even have to try. Because I'm Spicicle's silent. It's like I'm just stabbing people, and people can't notice right away. And when they do notice, I'm already gone, or I can use my Dag Ringer to get away. And Pyros can't chase me, because I can use a Spicicle to become fireproof. So I'm very hard to kill. And even if your knife is melted, you can use the Enforcer to still do insane damage. It just does so much damage. It basically makes it so you can one-shot every class. Not one-shot, but like it takes 3 shots to kill a 125 HP class with the regular revolver. With the Enforcer, it's 2. So that's a huge, huge deal. One less shot is huge. It's like, imagine if the heaviest bullets did that. That it took 1 less shot. That's not as big a deal, but it is for the spy because he doesn't shoot as many bullets. So it's like the less bullets you shoot, so he's not shooting that many bullets, and yet they did that, and it's kind of ridiculous. Anyways, I've been talking too long. Let us go on to the actual gameplay then.